Alright, back to a Thunderfoot video. This one's sort of out of order, so a special edition. Because it's one of his recent ones. The Hopelessness of Atheism. And apparently he's doing this, whatever, Beauty in the Universe, Phantasmagorical Crapola. So, we'll have an artificial element, I'm afraid. This is not the real deal. Hypkryptonite. Yeah, Hypkryptonite. So Hypkryptonite is basically this massless, no substance to this element whatsoever. Just completely made out of bullshit and mush. Yeah, it's just completely make-believe. Break the logical paradigm of the scientific method. The idea that you add 2 and 2 and you come up with 4, and then you do 4 and 4 and you come up with 8, and then you figure out, oh yeah, 4 times 4 would be 16 and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. The logical process, fuck the logical process. Don't make the universe accountable to a truth standard. Instead, just make up bullshit. Just like religion. Just make up a beauty in the universe theory. And just say, my God is better than your God because he's a really dumb, ignorant DNA molecule. And that's really not progress. It's not scientific. It's not logical. It's Hypkryptonite. That's what it is. It's Hypkryptonite. Anyway, on to the bullshit. So I haven't seen this video yet, and I guess I'll do the Venom Fang X one too after I do this one. We'll see.
For a fact, you, Thunderfoot, and other atheists suffer from depression. It's evident in your voice, and the way you talk, and your worldview.
But I have looked into the core of this reactor and seen beauty. Now I know what many of...
Yeah, so you're going to just argue that somehow we're going to judge the integrity of a belief system based on whether it depresses you or not. So, you know, if the Holocaust happens and you're Jewish and all your relatives get killed and it really sucks, don't be depressed. You know, just get a different frame of view, right? Just look at God's shiny butticus, you know, his little gold-plated butticus, and you'll get all charmed by that. Or go look in a pool of blue water, you know, containing radioactivity, and that'll do it for you, and it'll make it all okay, and you'll be all smiley faced and happy because you won't have to pay attention to the truth. You can just be distracted by either a shiny god butt or little technical sparkly glittery things that go shiny shiny sparkle sparkle.
You will say it's just a bunch of metal cans and radioactive pipes with a kind of pretty glowing swimming pool. Where's the beauty?
This video seems incredibly redundant. I mean, wasn't this one? Didn't he already make this argument in a previous video? I mean, damn, this is really lame. I already argued this dumb argument.
The beauty does not come from what it looks like, but from what it represents. When I look at this reactor, what I see is almost an irrelevance. In my mind's eye, I perceive the symphony of mathematics.
Oh, well, please. I mean, when people talk about their God, aren't they seeing something different too? Aren't they seeing the beauty of Jesus' sacrifice on the cross for his love for humanity? You know, aren't they seeing the charity of God to extend forgiveness after destroying the human race in the flood, and having a little bit of remorse that maybe he was a little too excessive? And there's just such beauty in God giving us a second chance to be loyal little fucktards.
Materials, nuclear physics, thermodynamics and engineering, spawned from the pooled knowledge of mankind by a communal action of a civilization.
This is exactly the same frickin' video. He's done the same speech before. I mean, this is bullshit.
Given form with the single intention of further expanding horizons. And it inspires me with hope for what such a civilization may yet achieve.
Yeah, look, and all this technology, we're using most of it just to, you know, we got satellites up there, and what are they doing? They're carrying a bunch of porn and spam and silly little text messages. I just cheated on my brother-in-law's sister's brother's wife, and it was really cool. Whatever. It's just, get real. We're accomplishing something. We're covering the planet with McDonald's and styrofoam, and sea turtles have fucking goddamn six-pack plastic things caught around their fucking heads. I mean, this shithole we have created. Half the big giant hunks of the ocean are dead. Other parts of the fish are floating upside down because of your brilliant technology. Oh, now he's going to do the Mars thing. This is a copy of what he's already done. I mean, this is just so lame. Oh, here, let me play the same video over again. Holy crap, holy. I can't believe it's right here, the date, February 5th. This is a new video. I already did this exact same crap before.
That is simply a fact of atheism, that it leaves you without hope, and it cripples your ability to live a hopeful, joyful life.
Again, that is such a silly argument. I mean, so just argue the silliness of the argument. The truth is not, there's no element of truth integrity in whether or not it makes you feel happy or sad. It's just irrelevant to the argument. So if Venom Fang X wants to talk about psychology and what human beings need to do to be good little troopers in the human march and parade, well, that's fine. But if he wants to talk about the reality of what the parade is doing, how it best functions, what's the best efficiency, well, then he's out of the conversation because he's acknowledged that he doesn't care about the truth. He only cares about what feels good.
We see further than the mighty thinkers of old, not because we are greater, but because of the inheritance of insight that they bequeathed to us. The knowledge and appreciation we have for the universe is a gift from those who dedicated their lives to understanding.
Well, again, so you're just not going to be able to make this kind of argument in a theist. I mean, just point out that the first theory of life's meaning and substance and purpose and functional reality were religious theories. That was the first reasonable theory, was a religious theory, because they didn't have enough information to extract from that wrong assumption. And that's what it would be, a logical assumption, but wrong because of the pitifully poor information people had. And just acknowledge that fact. But this glorification of the scientist in the context where a lot of these scientists were in fact religious people is a little bit bogus.
The problem defines itself. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and thereby we see further than they. But in the very act of climbing on their shoulders, we
don't stand on the shoulders of a giant. We stand on the shoulders of tons and tons of horror and misery and work and toil. Just burden. I mean, all this giant talk is a little bit bogus. None of this stuff happens for free. For every Wright brothers, there's 75 or 100 wrong brothers, who flew off a cliff with a pair of wings glued on their arms. So, I mean, this ain't fucking free. It isn't some sort of glorious, magnificent triumph, especially when you look at the context of what we have done with all this technology and accomplishment. You think that extending our lives is somehow purposeful when we're working 40-hour, 50-hour work weeks, in China 70 or 80-hour work weeks, where we live not to have a golden years of retirement, but merely to keep paying into a system so we can drop dead before we can collect any money out of it. I mean, come on. The system sucks. The technology hasn't made our lives better in the true context of a planet of 7 billion people, most of which are living in squalor.
Forge anew. We serve the purpose of laying the foundations for those who are to come after us.
Yeah, and again, what evidence of a grand foundation have we laid? We have borrowed. We've basically sentenced them to decades of toil to pay back our debts to a bunch of owners and lords and barons. So that has failed.
For those who have seen the flame of knowledge penetrate the murk of the unknown and the wonders that it has revealed.
Yeah, well, it's also revealed some cold, hard facts. The moon isn't made out of glorious cheese. You know, there's no cheese, glorious cheese. No, there's just dirt and dust. We found out the universe is a cold, hostile, nasty friggin' goddamn place. It doesn't just say to life, come visit us. You know, we'll put a shrimp on the Barbie. You know, the universe isn't saying, come on out to the universe. We'll put a shrimp on the Barbie. It's not saying that.
Who would not desire to fasten a brighter flame, such that those who come to wield this light can greatly supersede our insight, just as our vision...
Yeah, right. Well, they're going to greatly supersede it. Oh, they're going to have a third little hoopy thing on the McDonald's, and they're going to have another ingredient in the special sauce, and they're going to triple charbroil your little cow burger.
Penetrates further than those of old. There can be few acts more noble than being part of a society that values, preserves, and increases the knowledge for the minds yet to come.
Yeah, again, there's just no evidence that we're using this technology with any forward vision. There's every bit of evidence that we just keep looking for tomorrow. How's it going to benefit me? The human race has demonstrated itself to be morally corrupt, ethically corrupt. It keeps having kids, and it's eating their fucking legs. People are having kids, and then they're eating their own children's legs, essentially, by investing in yesterday and today instead of tomorrow. So this whole little pageantry, this little puppet show you put on here with your little pretty colors and flashy images isn't the demonstration of the truth. Show the truth of the world we've created. Show the truth of the world that we are sentencing the next generation to live in, or to fix, or to die in, and to die hard in.
It is the very purpose of our existence. Without God, life is meaningless, and dark and death is going to absolutely obliterate us, and there is no hope for the future.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's a sad little truth, but that's the truth. Like all the other animals and all the billions of people before you, and the trillions of animals before you. That's right. They've chased a little wad of cheese. They get a little tiny piece of it. They get a couple of satisfied moments, and then a Tyrannosaurus comes by and bites their head off. That's the sad, tragic truth of this stupid consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, and addiction. It is fucking fail. And your delusion of a god isn't going to unfail it there, fella. It's not going to undo the Holocaust. It's not going to undo the Black Plague. It's not going to undo smallpox and all those victims of it. It's not going to undo all the casualties in World War II. It's not going to undo one tiny fucking bit of the horror that has been experienced on this stupid planet because fucktards like you won't just admit, hey, this game is really stupid, and if we can't make it a little more sensible, we have no fucking business playing it. You glorify a goddamn insidious game, and then you'll sit there and say, oh, yeah, well, without the delusion that the game isn't the only game in town, yeah, well, the game looks okay then. Yeah, well, that's not a rational response to tragedy.
It's simply a fact of atheism, that it leaves you without hope, and it cripples your ability to live a hopeful, joyful life.
Well, whatever. I mean, that's as stupid as saying it cripples your ability to be a retard. Well, good. I mean, we don't need more retards. We don't need more idiots creating dysfunctionality in the world. And that's what you religious nuts do. You're creating huge dysfunctionality, huge waste of resources and lives with all your stupid, fanatical, arrogant bullshit.
Ah, the snake oil merchant, peddling the promise of eternal life to the short-sighted, neurotic mortals who can be seduced by the vacuous promise of eternal life.
What is this, a re-upload? I mean, this video is just, it reeks of, like, made a year ago. I don't get it. I've seen this before. He's done this fucking same cartoon before.
Eternal life would be no gift, but arguably one of the most horrific tortures that could be laid upon a sentient being. I mean, sure, the first million years might be fun, but what about the next million, and the billion after that, and the trillion after that, and you still have eternity left. This will never end. There will never be an end in sight. Eternal life is merely the poorly thought out fiction.
Well, why would you even argue it? There's no practical way to even get there. There's no physics that's going to get the substance of the human race off this planet. There's no rational physics. So yeah, this place is going to get canned by a meteor or a comet, or it's going to get ultimately canned by the sun itself when it goes through its death spiral
of mortals who have gotten greedy. Eternal life would be a curse. Without death, there is no reason to do things. And this is how things would remain for eternity.
Oh man, that is just, where do people come up with this? Where do they come up with this inane logic that somehow I need to have death hanging over my head to, get a boner, or to have a satisfying meal, or to do anything I enjoy in life? What do you assholes really walk around every 20 minutes of every day going, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die? I mean, is that really how you live your fucking lives? It's just so idiotic. What the fuck does dying have to do with life appreciation? I don't appreciate my life because I'm going to die. Actually, the whole idea that I'm going to die, and probably going to die in some hard, brutal, nasty way, kind of takes the edge off the fun. It kind of spoils the party. I mean, if when you go to the party, I don't know, the house is going to float away in the ocean, and there's going to be huge waves, and you're going to get seasick, and it's going to be really sucky. It's going to kind of take the edge off, right? So fuck, death doesn't enhance life. It fucking diminishes it. It turns it into something you're saying, oh man, I got so suckered. It's like buying something at the store and finding out, oh, what do you mean it needs a battery that's only made in Hong Kong, China? What the fuck?
And eternity after that, and eternity after that.
I mean, okay, so you're going to argue that eternity is somehow practical. I mean, exactly how is it practical? Well, what physics dictate that there's some possibility that a complex molecular structure can be retained for an eternity? I mean, there's not, you can't even find a rock that's been around for eternity. So how are you going to find something as complex as a human being that's going to hang around for eternity? That's the argument. But the fact that you would have a problem somehow doing it, there's no problem. You just, worst case scenario, every 100 years you just whap yourself with a hammer, get a little bit of amnesia, and start all over again.
I strongly urge you to accept your mortality. Do not let your fear of your inevitable death make you waste your only mortal life pursuing phantasms and delusions.
Again, well, I don't know what you just said here. I mean, aren't you saying you're glorifying death? So they're bad enough to glorify life, but I mean, you're glorifying death and saying, all hail the death because somehow it makes you more urgent, or somehow you got to get busy because you're going to die. Now, I don't think dying has anything to do with it, actually. Maybe you could just take things a lot slower. If you knew you weren't going to die, I take a nap on the couch for a few hundred years.
Look at yourself in the mirror. For billions of years, those particles which are currently looking back at you have circulated in the universe. But for a brief instant, they have coalesced in you.
Yeah, well, the more interesting little thing you could have done with that is maybe you could have followed one of those molecules through all the human horror and shown that, the few of the molecules on your hand here, well, that was a little 10-year-old girl who had bubonic plague, in 1398, and she died horribly and tragically and slowly. Okay, in this wonderful, beautiful pageantry of the universe and all its little sparkly stardust.
Rejoice in the impressive instants, till they dissipate whence they came. Delight that you are a spark of light in the universe. Life is simple.
Oh, you are a spark of light in the universe. Oh, how fucking scientific. That's right. All the scientific evidence points to the spark of sunlight in the universe theory. Oh, it's just so sparkly. We're all sparkly. Yeah, we don't see the sparkly, but we're actually very sparkly. Oh, I must have an agenda that needs taking care of. Shut up! God damn, that was annoying. Anyway, yeah, I probably have an auction or something. Well, I'm not editing this video. Fuck
much
that.
more vibrant and vivid without Bronze Age paranoid superstitions that cloud and contract the mind with some empty and undesirable promise that sparks can burn forever. For the radiance of the spark that burns boldly and brightly echoes through the halls of eternity, while the spark that neurotically fritters away its fuel.
Oh, yeah, right. So this whole glorify idea that we're just sparklies now, just that sounds a lot like the heaven angel theory, that we're all souls, we're all little sparkly souls. Well, we're not just consuming and reproducing and cannibalizing addicted little machines roaming the earth based on the agenda of a DNA molecule. A friggin' molecule is dictating, the substance of your motivations and the substance of your actions. No, you're little sparklies.
Might as well have never been.
Well, that's the most sensible thing you said. That's right. That's really where the logic points. You might as well have never been, because you can't win this game. The game has been made out of, the flesh they carved off of human beings, essentially. The only substance in the game, the only value in the game is the value extracted out of to create your deprivation, to create your need. You can't create something that has any value unless it's in some way or another is just putting back the need that was created in your creation. So you're not a sparkle of light, you're a black fucking hole is what we are. We're little black holes consuming and consuming, trying to fill a gap that can't be filled because it's been built that way. It's built to just consume.
Time is finite. This gives our lives meaning. It gives our lives purpose. It gives our lives urgency.
Oh, yeah, it's just so friggin' silly. I mean, really. That's just silly. That is just silly, delusional mush.
Live life today. Savor it.
Oh, just look at that. How cool is that? Oh, yeah, every time I do that, I get a boner, too. Oh, God, look. Oh, I'm sitting on a rock. Oh, it's too cool. Oh, God, yeah, Mr. Adventurer. Climb a mountain. Yeah, don't be a silly fucktard and do logical things that have some sort of productive value. No, go climb a mountain and be oxygen deprived and have a hallucinogenic experience and just say, oh, that was really cool because, it was another delusion. It wasn't the God delusion, it was the LSD delusion or the, brain suffocation delusion. Yeah, so just cling to your delusions that this little mushy bullshit means something. Besides the fact that it stimulates silly little consuming Frankensteins on little planet Earth. Oh, what a pitiful video. So anyway, this is why I make these videos. This kind of lie. This bullshit message that life is all this friendly little adventure shit. It's not getting run over by a drunk driver. It's not getting AIDS. It's not. No, it's none of those realities. No, it's this little fluffy bullshit where I climbed a mountain and I sat there and I had a half a beer because a light beer, of course, because I wasn't going to carry a full hard heavy beer all the way up the mountain. And, it was a spectacular 15 minutes, and I took a piss, and then I went home. Yeah, really too cool for words. So, anyway. I mean, God, this is just so tragic. I mean, it's just sad, because, you got all these nutty theists, and then when they get the idea that there's no God, they still have to invent one. They still have to invent a little purpose engine, a little sparkly, glowy crap. To make their life magical and substantive, even though it's just rat chasing illusionary cheese in the ugliest, nastiest, gut-stained slaughterhouse there is. Yeah, but no, we're not going to pay attention to the truth. No, we're not going to be logical and deduce the logical truth, which is a DNA molecule isn't very bright, and it likely isn't going to create a sensible game for little feeling creatures to play.